Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Landi Lodge. This is episode 50 here on YouTube. Now, unfortunately, the video file for this episode got corrupted, and I spent the last couple weeks trying to restore it every way that I knew how, and it was to no avail. So, I got the audio file here. Luckily, that's just fine. Gonna have this cool graphic of the logo playing in the background the whole time, and at the end of the day, it's a great episode. Me and my buddy Alex from All Nerds Welcome. I'm sure you'll enjoy the conversation and look forward to the next episode coming to YouTube soon. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Lodge. Episode number 50. Could not have done it without all of you. Thank you to everybody who's been tuning in for well over a year now. I want to do a quick roll-off to the sages of the Lodge, people who are monthly supporters. Quick shout-out to Chris Perkowski, Charlotte Astry, Scott Castellano of End of the Bench, Maria Palmieri, my mom, Macaulay Warhol, Dan Muller, Shane Driscoll, Andrew Clay, Roger Kemp, and today's guest on episode number 50 is also a sage of the Lodge. Welcome back to the Lodge, Alex Pamal. All Nerds Welcome.
What's up, guys?
What's going on, dude?
Not much. Hanging out.
We're here to talk about some new games that have come out, Disney Plus. But before we continue, I want to do a quick shout out to Brown Sugar and the Blind Albinos. Now, Brown Sugar and the Blind Albinos is a funk band out of Long Island, New York. You can find them on YouTube. You can find them on Instagram, SoundCloud. Very simple. There's nobody with a name even close to them. Brown Sugar and the Blind Albinos. You can find them across platform. Give them a listen. Just dropped their new EP. It's fantastic. We're going to get you off with a quick tune by Akira the Don, and then we will roll into episode 50.
It's none of that. But something you forgot. See, everybody's forgotten something. You left it out. Just missed it. See? And so, I can bring this out, what you've forgotten, if I ask you, who are you? Well, you say, I'm Paul Jones, or whatever your name happens to be. I say, oh, no, don't give me that stuff. Who are you, really? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you, really?
In 3, 2, 1, and episode 50.
What's up?
Alex, it's a pleasure to have you on.
I'm your first returning guest, right?
Not my first returning guest, but we can pretend you are.
All right.
Let's pretend you're the first returning guest.
You gotta inflate the ego.
Got it.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, so we got a lot to talk about, man. So Pokemon Sword and Shield just dropped. Mm-hmm. Did you pick up Sword or Shield?
I picked up both, but I'm playing Sword.
Me too. I just played Sword. So it's been a while since a mainline Pokemon game has dropped, not since Sun and Moon.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this one compared to previous games in the franchise?
Well, they reused the models. There's so many bad things about. No, I'm just. Yeah. So this game, as far as like the fun factor goes, I love it. It is definitely it improved on the things that needed to be improved on, which is just the excitement levels in general. Like, the gym battles are easily the best thing in this. Like, the previous ones were so obvious. You'd go to Brock and you'd be like, oh, I wonder what kind of Pokemon Brock uses. Yeah. You just get, you go get a Mankey and you're set, and this one, they gave it such a personality. To me, I can't, the storyline to me was definitely different too.
It's better.
There's no real Team Rocket kind of bad guys,
and I
so
liked
far.
That. I like that. There was no overarching evil organization that's out to get you.
Just a bunch of goofball fans.
Of goofballs who are fans of a rival of yours. Yeah. I thought that was cool. I thought that was fresh.
They're parodying the soccer fans in Great Britain that bug out about
they call them Team. They call them Team Yell.
Yeah,
because they're just goons that make a lot of noise.
The dialogue. If you're currently playing the game, I suggest what I do is I play the game. And when I read it, I get a British accent in my brain.
I've been doing that too, because they say, oh, look at the telly.
Yeah, like, oi. It's like...
You can take the lift up to the gym.
I love, the new region. I hope they continue this where they go to, different
parts
countries.
of the world. Yeah, so like for
Yeah.
those listening, the new game is based on the United Kingdom.
Yep.
And it's covering everything from England to Scotland, because one of the things I love most about this game is the music.
Yeah.
And I love when you're in the open world and you can hear the bagpipes in the distance.
Yeah.
It's just so immersive. I feel like.
The gym battle music is like all the music.
All the music is really good.
Yeah.
Honestly, if there's anything that stands out to me as a major improvement from previous entries, I really think it's the music.
Yeah.
And music has always been good in Pokemon games.
Yeah.
But this is just next level, from like the punk rock Ramones vibe you get whenever
Yeah.
you face Marnie or any
Yeah,
member
yeah.
of Team Yell, to the bagpipes in the wild area.
Yeah, they're like rockabilly, kind of weird. It's just like the weird, like it's got Sun and Moon did a really good job setting up like using like the location to give like all the characters
Because that was a very Hawaii vibe.
Yeah, and so everyone was mad relaxed. Everyone was everyone looked like they were stoned. Like it was cool, good vibes. This game, it looks like it's just a bunch of people that are super passionate. Which in the UK, I mean, just
And sophisticated.
Yeah, like
A lot of sophistication.
yeah, but
going
also
around.
like Team Yell is like their Cockney kind of thing, and then but then you go to like the other areas with like the professor. Like, it's really cool to learn everything. I love the story itself, like the whole sword and shield. Like while it's developing the lore in the game,
Yeah,
you start learning new things about it. It's
they-
just like, oh wow, like
they have a mythology to the area, and like you're saying, as you move forward, you start seeing like not that the mythology isn't true, but you start to see the truth behind the
yeah.
mythology.
Which I mean, if we could do that in real life,
It's kind of the same idea.
Yeah.
You know, those myths aren't going to be literal; they're going to be more metaphoric, which is kind of what this game is
Yeah.
getting at with Sword and Shield.
Yeah.
What do you think of the new Pokemon designs?
A lot of them are. Well, the first thing I noticed when I was talking to my wife was, I have a Dreadnought in my party.
Dreadnought turtle.
The turtle,
The
yeah,
big dinosaur-looking
and we were
turtle.
talking about how we were comparing that, and then we were talking about the old Pokemon. Mm-hmm. So we were talking about like Blastoise. I said, "Oh, it's another turtle." The best turtle is Torterra, but I just wanna throw that out.
Torterra's cool.
Torterra is the best. That's the one I wish was real. But like, what I was laughing about was saying how if you look at the new designs versus the old designs, the new designs look like they would eat the old designs, like the like Blastoise, and like they look so cartoonish. Like now, these Pokemon, even like some of the new bug ones, like even in Sun and Moon, was it Vikavolt?
Yeah.
It was like a literal taser Pokemon. It just looked angry and violent. So a lot of these, like they start off super, like I'm gonna say it, super cute. I mean, your whole party, if you catch the beginning,
Well, look at the Rookidee into a
yeah,
Corviknight.
Yeah, like it's so crazy. I love that it goes from. It almost reminds me of Digimon, where it's like cuteness, and then as they get like they
more
start
monstrous.
yeah. The starters are all. I mean, the design when I first saw the
Who did
leaks,
you pick?
Grookey.
I pick. Everyone's picking
Everyone's
Grookey.
picking because it's a freaking cute ass monkey.
Hell yeah! And his final form is the best.
Yeah.
Of the three, what is it? It's a Rillaboom. It's a giant gorilla with a freaking big boom drum.
I love how and I was when I first saw the leaks, I was just like, who's he walking around this like drum set for? I was like, how's that gonna work? And then you see him just drop it really quickly as when you take him out, he's like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh okay, I got it. I do think that Cinderace, the Score Bunny's final evolution,
Yeah.
the fire starter, I think he's aesthetically the best one.
He's a cool looking
He looks
one.
really nice, but well, the only thing that disappointed me was that they're not dual types. Like most of the old games, they were dual types.
Like Charizard turns into fire flying.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they got rid of that, which kind of bummed me out. Because Sun and Moon, I had the Primarina, the seal starter, the water one, and it was like a fairy type,
Yeah.
and that was really cool. Having a good
Well,
nice little fairy.
I picked Rowlet, who evolved into grass flying,
Yeah.
which negates one of his old weaknesses because
Yeah.
flying can fuck up grass. But
Yeah.
once he's grass flying, it's a good defense.
Yeah, it was like it's really, to me that was a bummer. But overall, the new ones, aside from like some of them looking a little bit goofy, I don't see any of them that really genuinely looked like stupid.
Honestly, I think that the best designs in a while.
Yeah.
I think it's because, and this is something I've always said, is one of the things I loved about the older designs, like red, blue, gold, silver, is they were all kind of modeled after dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Like when you think about it. And I feel like this game, it kind of brought that dinosaur vibe back.
Yeah. Like there's some I think the worst designed ones to me are the fossil dragons. They're really weird.
Yeah, they're very weird, yeah.
Because you make them yourself. You like if you combine one with another egg or something, it becomes like a weird hybrid, and then like some of them look like they looked like genetic experiments gone wrong. Like what's that like that island Dr. Moreau like experiment shit like it's like what the hell is this thing like this looks really dumb. But otherwise like they all look super nice. The fox one was it Nickit?
Nickit. Yeah.
Looks it kind of not great stat wise, but like its evolution is like it looks like it's modeled like he literally looks like a French thief.
Yeah.
And he's like even
he's got the mask. He's got the thief mask on. Yeah.
His front feet are they're boots. Like those like
oh, I never noticed that.
But the back ones don't have it. So when he and it has a little
that.
and it's got like a little mustache, like the two. It looks like almost like what they modeled from Persona 5, Arsene.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Arsene was like an actual legitimate person, was a thief in France a long time ago. So it looks like they modeled him after that. Like I can't give them enough credit. Game Freak did a really good job with this. I mean, even the bug one, it turns from like that weird looking bug to like a ladybug that is like,
big expansive.
But it's not even like big, but it looks like it'll just like fuck you up. It's like a scary look. Like the bugs look so scary now.
No, the bug Pokemon were really good because they all did, like you said, they all look kind of scary.
Even the centipede one.
The fillet something. I can't remember its name.
I know.
But I know what you're talking about.
I know the evolution because I use the evolution. Scorch looks super cool, but also freaks me out when I'm using them because it's still like a bug. Like it's like a centipede. Those are disgusting. But otherwise, like they're all really fun. I think that there's not enough like what's it called, like the fairy Pokemon. I like using them because fairy attacks are really good.
It's good at combating against dragons.
Yeah, it's good, but it's like at the same time, I never really liked a lot of the designs of the fairy type Pokemon.
That's fair. I'm kind of in the same boat. I never really go out of my way to catch a fairy Pokemon. What I did do is I Boltoned the evolved form of Yamper, and I taught him a fairy type move, and I just used him to fight dragon types.
Yeah.
But speaking overall about the game, obviously this isn't a game without controversy. So for those who are listening, a lot of fans were upset with Game Freak because not all the Pokemon are included in this. There's only 400 of the, what are there now, 900?
890, I think.
Yeah, there's about 900 Pokemon, only 400 are included, so a lot of people got upset about that. They ported some graphics over from the 3DS games onto the Switch, so people are upset about that. And I don't think those critiques are invalid.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of those people are depriving themselves of what I think is a really fun Pokemon experience.
They're still playing it.
It.
And on top of that, there's a way that people hacked it already. Like, before it came out, a lot of people hacked.
They did the data dive, yeah.
Yeah, but they legitimately were able to actually hack and take the entire game and play it. Like, allegedly.
Yeah.
But, like, I honestly think that, and above all, I argue with so many people on Twitter about it, and I was like...
I gotta give you credit, man. I don't have the stomach to do what you do, man.
I was working and just arguing with... I was arguing with this dude who was yelling at me in Spanish, and I'm like... Dude, and I'm like, first of all, besides translating, I speak Spanish. I'm like, come on, guy. And we had the same name, so I was like, it felt like an evil version of me just bitching. I was like, what the hell, man? It's Pokemon.
You ran into your shadow self on Twitter.
The people were you know what? And then the worst part of it was because of IGN. Oh, IGN, the arbiter of evil.
Well, IGN said it's the best Pokemon game of all time.
Anybody,
right?
Yeah, but they always say because I think.
But that's just one journalist with one opinion. That doesn't represent the whole organization.
Everyone thinks that IGN is like this kind of like. You ever seen Minority Report?
Yes.
Remember the oracles in the tub? They act like they're all like they act like there's like a hive mind of people in there that all share the same opinion, and that this company they kind of like Megazord transform into one giant evil reviewer. When it's like, no, they gave somebody who likes Pokemon the game.
Yeah, and that particular journalist thinks it's the best game of the series.
And everyone's just like, well, if they like the game, they're gonna look at it with nostalgia, blah blah. I'm like, yeah, but at the other side of that same argument, you could say, if this game is really that bad and it's a real Pokemon fan, that they'll be even more angry. Mm-hmm. So you can you basically and I try to cover this a lot when we do our videos. Mm-hmm. You have a choice between feeling two different ways. And both ways don't have proof. You know, it's like trying to argue.
It's all subjective at the end of the day. Yeah, experiences are subjective.
Yeah, so it's like I think I like to have fun with when I watch something. I have fun with it. I don't care. Yeah. Like I don't look at the semantics. It's like when I made that mobile gamer video. I told people use the term mobile gamer as like a slur game, and like I'm like, what do you? It's
a lot of those people obviously, and if I can come at my own, are people living in the West. Because to us, mobile games don't make a lot of sense.
Like,
you know why? Because we're not salarymen in Japan who are working 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. Mobile gaming's really all they have when they're on the subway, when on the train, when they're on their lunch break. They don't have time to sit home and play a console. They sleep and cook when they come home.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's why Nintendo invented the Switch, so that a lot of these salarymen can take it with them when they go to work. And that's why it's selling as well as it is. So
and Ring Fit, so people can get fit.
Yeah, the Ring Fit, I saw that. Jesus Christ.
My wife was like, you should get it. I'm like, I got herniated discs. I'm not playing that game. Like,
Last thing you do is video games.
I said, I want to go to the doctor and be like, what'd you do? Was that at work? Like, nah, I was playing this game.
I was playing Ring Fit.
I was playing this game on the Switch and I just, my fat ass fell over or something like that. Just like, nah, I don't want to do that.
But you know something? All those, like, I feel like with anything you love these days, if you log on online, you're going to see a heap of people hating on it. Almost no matter what you do.
Oh my God.
And the reason why, and this is why the internet is tricky, right? And the internet can be so tricky because you log on to Reddit, right? If you go to the Pokemon subreddit right now, there's the Game Freak lied, and it's got 4,000 upvotes, and it's the hottest. It's the hottest topic on the subreddit of Pokemon. 4,000 upvotes, but you have to pause, right? Because to those 4,000 people, this is a Pokemon apocalypse. But Pokemon games sell on average 15 million a copy.
You know what that
in a sea of 15 million people, what are these 4,000 people who hate it? They're not the majority. Don't let them convince you they're the majority.
It's the same thing also even with like Captain Marvel. You see my boy the quartering and my new favorite.
You come at the quartering a lot
because he's a little bitch. Then my girl, because I'm all about equality, my girl Mecha Random 42, which I did a video on recently, which actually was getting shared online by like Captain Marvel, like Brie Larson bots. By the way, I found out there's people that have
the BLBs.
They have like legitimate bots that people make online to defend Brie Larson, and they started sharing my video. So I started getting
You got some hits.
I got so many people. Yeah, I got people talking so much shit. There's people like, and what I love about it is there was one guy that kept commenting on it, which I then revealed by the end of the exchange. At the end, I revealed he was a 44-year-old man. And
Jesus,
he's like saying like, why is it that when people talk about this, they say that they're being sexist and stuff? I'm like, bro, I didn't know you didn't watch. I know you didn't watch my video because I didn't ever even accuse anybody of anything. All I did was add context to shit talking. But those two YouTubers specifically, they put so many conspiracy theories out there about the video game and entertainment industry, and I'm cool with conspiracy theories. I think I'm fine. You can literally believe whatever you want to believe, and that is absolutely fine. I got zero issue with that. But it's when people create a
you're good, sorry.
It's when people create a conspiracy theory to then hurt something, even if it's pointless.
They're fanning the flames.
Yeah, and it's again, like that's not really what a conspiracy theory should be about.
And it's also, it kind of creates a false perception because you have like a bigger YouTuber who's going to fan the flames of some fringe theory or fringe conspiracy. And because this person gets like 50 to 100,000 views, suddenly you have this perception that this is a real thing now.
Yeah. It's what they do with the way they speak, they talk about rumors and they talk about the speculation things, but the way they talk about it, they present it as a fact. Not by saying it's a fact. You don't obviously have to say something is a fact in order to convey that you think that is what's true. Mm-hmm. That's like with Alex Jones, with his conspiracy theory stuff. I mean, I'd have no doubt he doesn't believe what he believes in because of how he
definitely believes what he believes.
Yeah,
that's what makes him entertaining.
Yeah, but he's like I never watched his stuff, but I imagine that he never really cites that many sources and stuff when he yells some of the stuff that he yells.
From what I've watched, like he does cite sources. Whether or not those sources are credible is another story.
Yeah, yeah. But it's like, he's still fine screaming and yelling because he believes in it. When I watch like the Quartering or these other guys, it almost seems like it's
calculated,
but it's also like they're reading the news. It feels like they're reading the news.
As I say, it's almost teleprompter.
Yeah, and it's like, to me, you shouldn't report an opinion and try to act like it's like the final word.
Well, you know what I don't like either? I don't like clickbait thumbnails. Like, it's one thing if you're trying to take on a hot topic or do a hot take and your thumbnail brings people in, but when your thumbnail presents something as a fact, and in the first 30 seconds you say like it's an opinion or it's a theory or it might be true.
When I did my Quartering video, like within the first 5 minutes, and I think I highlighted, isolated, and repeated it. He said that Brie Larson wants him to have a gay romance.
Oh yeah, because the whole
lesbian
thing with what's her name?
Tessa
Tessa
And there
Thompson,
was
who plays Valkyrie.
Well, all they did was retweet a photo of fan art.
fan art.
Yeah, and then they were like, "Oh, we're cute" and shit. Like they were just being nice to fans, acknowledging fans. And they're like, "It's confirmed. She's gay now. Captain Marvel is a lesbian." And then in that same video,
They'd have a better time just talking about the lesbian haircut
yeah, like
in Endgame.
yeah, well, no, that was it? Yeah,
It's a pretty. It's you could either call it a lesbian haircut or a Karen. Can I speak to your manager haircut?
yeah. I mean, it was kind of weird. I guess because I think she stopped. I don't know.
I don't care. It looks.
I
looks
like
cool.
I like the
It
faux
looks-
hawk thing.
It looks cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess she decided to go a little more military about it. I don't know. It's like
Yeah, I get that.
because she was military, so for her to have that long hair was technically. I thought that.
And also, it's it's to have long hair like that is a what did you call it? It's a battle vulnerability.
yeah.
You know, that was one of my issues, and I love the movie, by the way, The Dark Knight Rises. Love this movie, but Catwoman's wearing her hair down.
Yeah.
What are we doing? She's leaving DNA
Yeah.
everywhere. What
Yeah,
kind of
it's
burglar
like-
is this?
You gotta have it kind of like tight and everything, and with
Tied
her,
back.
it never
Well, that's why the
really-
original, like the other design, she wears a cap. She
Yeah.
wears the cat cap because it keeps all the hair in.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's another thing. This new Batman movie coming out with
they're
Robert Pattinson.
They're stacking this cast.
This is gonna be the sexiest Batman movie. All the men are fucking handsome as shit. I was gonna say like this is. Did you see who they're looking at for Penguin? Colin Farrell.
Really?
Yeah, well, it's because of the Telltale Batman.
Yeah. Okay.
The Telltale Batman series, they introduced like a
Who'd they
nice
cast?
looking.
But okay, speaking of this is going to be the sexiest Batman movie of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what women have been cast?
So far, Zoe Kravitz,
Zoe Kravitz, she's Batwoman.
Catwoman.
Catwoman, yeah, called
Yeah.
guy said
Beautiful
Catwoman.
girl.
Catwoman. No, Zoe Kravitz is.
That's all they really cast though, as far as women. They're just stacking it up with like every handsome dude they can find. Because then they were looking at Jonah.
Well, they got
Hill.
Paul Tompkin to be the Riddler.
Paul Dano.
Paul Dano. Did I say Tompkin? Paul Dano's the Riddler.
Paul F. Tompkins. I think you're talking about the comedian from BoJack. You remember
I got
BoJack?
that.
Yeah.
I love BoJack. You see the new
Yeah.
season?
Yeah,
Dude, how
depressing
good?
as shit.
How fucking good was that season?
That's one of the best. That is one of the best shows on like any sort of platform.
I'm actually
BoJack is
a
so
lot of
great.
people are upset it's ending, but I'm happy that it's ending before it loses its stride.
Yeah.
Because this is a show that like it's got half a season left, right? But it never lost its stride.
No.
It remained funny. It remained well written.
It actually advanced, if anything.
Well, this season especially, I thought the last season or two was a little bit of a step down. Still loved it. It's one of my favorite shows. But this season, this first half, this might be my favorite season.
Well, what they ended up doing was basically, they wanted to tackle new things. Like the one episode, I don't know if it was last season or the season before. It might have been the season before when he gets his sister when he meets her.
When he meets Hollyhock. Yeah, it's last season.
And he starts when that one episode where they went into his mind and they animated his thoughts differently. So basically animated anxiety and everything.
Yeah.
I thought that was one of the best episodes. That's up there with the underwater episode.
The underwater episode's my favorite. In the
Yeah,
show.
like it's a beautiful episode, and when they showed that with the anxiety thing, I thought it was really cool to show what it is, like to show like a different angle to like kind of like understand what it's like to be in the mind of somebody, like that has stuff like that.
Well, this is part of what draws us to animation, right? Is because they're able to illustrate these things that can't otherwise be illustrated in a live action show or movie. Like you said, being able to animate, somebody's anxious thoughts. It really, I think it does such a good job of showing a window into those kind of perspectives. People who suffer from depression, people who suffer from anxiety.
And it dunks, and then I like too that it's not like there's zero bias with it when it comes to like
Nobody's safe.
no, that's
nobody's safe,
and it almost feels like even some shows like it could be argued like even South Park kind of like. South Park, the new season. I still watch South Park.
I'll put it on from time to time. It
Because
always cracks me up.
They
dude.
still do like more. So they do more social than like more outrageous. Like
Yeah.
they went away from outrage, went to social, and it's not a bad thing. But it's like I feel like BoJack does it in a way where they're just as edgy as like a South Park thing, but you still watch it like with your parents. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel
it's just this is like they did such a good job with it. I'm gonna be heartbroken when that show ends.
Me too. I think January is the final.
I think late January.
The final 6 or 7 episodes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be heartbroken too, but again, I love it when a show can do its full thing and not lose its stride.
The perfect example would be like the show Archer.
I've seen some episodes of Archer, but I haven't really.
If you watch
watched
the
Archer.
show Archer, from like season 1 to 5, it is, to me personally, it's up there right tied with BoJack and funniness. It's one of the funniest shows you'll ever see. And then they went off for the last like 4 seasons. They started doing parody instead of doing like a linear story. Mm-hmm. And there's one where it's like Danger Island, where he's on an island and he's like in the past. And there's one where he's in Hollywood in like the late 40s, and it's all like,
oh man,
it's really weird. But there's no longer like there's a linear storyline within the season, but it doesn't tie into the other seasons. And there was so much character development. And at the end of the 5th season, I think it's the 5th, there's such a crazy twist, and they don't address it until the next season that's coming out soon, the 10th season. Oh. So they spent 4 seasons not explaining the twist, and now they're gonna
shit.
It was really crazy what they did.
That's awesome.
It's experimental, but like it's
little
just
avant-garde.
It's just a little like they kind of like it was. I mean, the creator even said like I was gonna end it, but then I had these crazy ideas, and I'm like,
well, you gotta love, man. You probably kept them up at night.
There's some shows, man, that just stay like Supernatural just is ending now. I've watched every episode of Supernatural. Is one of those shows that
I haven't seen that either, but my buddy Glenn, shout out to Glenn, loves that show.
Yeah, like it's one of those shows that 15 seasons strong, and they're like now it's ending this. Going. It's ending this year or this season, but then there's like BoJack. It's just, I don't know. Television's a wacky thing, man. But yeah, Disney Plus is like the next thing that's just like revolutionized. Like I can't say Disney Plus. I'd say Amazon Prime kind of started it. The movie budget for television shows, like
you think Amazon Prime started that, not Netflix?
Have you seen any of the Amazon Prime shows?
I haven't. I want to watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of good things about that. But I haven't seen anything.
The Boys.
The Boys. It's a new superhero show by. It was a comic book. Like I forgot what it was. It's a comic book series. It's a superhero series, but it's like it's more gruesome and violent and sexual than even like Deadpool the movies were. Really?
It's very it's really crazy. There's like I can't believe you've even seen this. If you watch Amazon Prime, these guys really were the ones that started throwing the money out, because when you watch the show The Boys, it plays like you're watching legitimately. It's spoofing mostly DC. Mm-hmm. So when you see it, it looks like a DC movie when you watch it on your television. And Amazon, and they're doing the Lord of the Rings series, like a prequel series soon.
Really?
Yeah, they're doing one that takes place like just Middle Earth, but in the second age or whatever it's called. I forgot what it's called.
Gotcha.
But these guys were the ones that really started just dunking money into shows, and now Disney Plus, you see with the Mandalorian, the movie, like it looks like
it felt like a Star Wars movie when I was watching the. What did you think of it? You saw the first episode.
I saw the first episode.
So what do you think of it?
I think it's a great thing. I think that the Mandalorians never really got like that much due. Mm-hmm. Also, the guy running it, Dave Filoni, he's done Clone Wars. He's trained by Lucas at Skywalker Ranch.
He knows how to capture the essence, because I feel, not to knock on any of the sequel movies, but I felt like when it came to capturing the Star Wars universe, this is the best Disney has done so far. Yeah, not knocking any of the new films, but kind of what you're getting into.
Yeah, like the biggest, besides the more obvious things with the sequel trilogy, to me, the biggest problem with it is that they continue the Skywalker stuff.
Well, yeah, because the Skywalker saga had a perfect ending. You could have just left that alone.
They should have just made
fast-forwarded 500 years and just pick it up from there. If you want to do some Luke Skywalker Force Ghosts,
what they probably should have done was Knights of the Old Republic stuff.
That's what I was hoping for.
Yeah, but that's what they were thinking. That's what the Game of Thrones directors, they just left. There was a theory of them.
They wanted to do that.
And then you have Rian Johnson is also making a different trilogy of Star Wars.
I think his just got canned.
Yeah, I think they're like...
There's too much controversy surrounding his movie, The Last Jedi, that I don't even know if Disney wants to dip their toes in that water anymore.
People talk like so much about these movies, but the only thing that's really, literally wrong with these movies is just the writing.
The writing is very poor.
Because it looks beautiful.
It looks
Everything
gorgeous.
is edited great.
It looks gorgeous.
Everything looks great.
It's a good point. It's a very good
Everything
point.
looks great. Besides, what was it?
You're so right. It really is just the writing.
Ben Swallow, him with the shirtless thing, Besides that, I mean, other than that, it's just the writing. Everyone makes it about... Because this is, again, when it comes to like starting problems, most of the internet will think, and this is what happens to... It's the same thing that happens with Ms. Marvel. People start saying people are being racist and they're being sexist because of the cast. And it's like, people don't even bother to look at the origin. People were calling it out before it came out. Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And the only news that we had was the 3 main characters. And everyone was already pissed.
Which is annoying. I actually liked The Force Awakens. I thought they played it safe. Obviously, we blew up the fucking Death Star again. But I thought it was a good start to the new trilogy. They played it safe. The characters were actually interesting in that movie.
Except, I'll get one thing.
Go for it.
My most controversial feeling about Star Wars, I do not like Harrison Ford.
You don't like him?
I don't like him as an actor in those movies because he is, to me, like one of the most ungrateful human beings. He hates Han Solo so much.
Well, that's why they killed him off in the first movie.
But then he goes on press tour saying like I was begging them to kill him off. So I'm like,
in the middle of back in the old trilogy, he wanted him killed off.
He didn't want to come back to make these movies at all.
That's what I was gonna say. In the original trilogy, given putting his feelings aside, and I'll say this. He did put his heart into the performance of Han Solo in those original movies.
But it was his first.
I felt like
his first major role.
It was his big break. I felt like he was kind of phoning it in
100%.
on the Force Awakens. He kind of phoned it in.
And also, when I found out that he was coming back, I was like, didn't he just like crash a plane or something recently? And now we're gonna see him like
he's a wild human, man. He's a wild human.
He loves weed.
Yeah, a lot of guys in Hollywood do.
Loves weed.
A lot of guys in Hollywood do. You see him go on these talk shows, and he's just blasted out of his mind.
To me, he just seems ungrateful. Like
probably, or he could just be old and cranky.
Yeah, but I'm like, you can't be like that on a set of a friggin' Star Wars thing. You gotta be like happy and peppy.
Well, you gotta be professional, right? It's like you don't go into work, a cranky old asshole. I mean, you might internally, but when you speak to other people, you should do your best to transcend that. But going back to The Mandalorian, another thing that I really liked about it, I thought they did a really good job of building their main character because it starts and he's very quiet. Yeah. He's very stoic. And then you see he's very good at what he does. It's like, oh, so this is a dangerous guy. Yeah. But then as it goes on, as we move a little close to the end,
he's got a little heart.
He's kind of silly.
And he's a little,
he's a bit of a softie.
He is a huge softie compared to like, but that's what we get for this Mandalorian. I mean, by the second episode, he already has more screen time than all the other Fets. So we have a lot more time and more like, I like the fact that it would have been nice to know that when he got like, all right, they say there's a spoiler alert, I guess, but I mean, I think
we could spoil. Let's
yeah.
Cool.
The thing is, we don't know who destroyed his people, his home planet yet.
Correct.
But I thought it was the Empire. But then I thought to myself, why would he go work for Darth Vader in episode 5 to go try to hunt down Han? But then in my mind, I'm like, I'm hoping that what they do is they show that Vader was offering him that steel. And that's why he did it. So this entire time, and why he was so passionate, was he wanted to restore the Mandalorians and help them. Because they even said when he got the piece, he said it was going to fund some of it. So there's those children are also going to. So he's giving part of his bounty,
some charity,
to help out his own people and stuff. So to me, I like that they're adding this sort of depth.
They're building lore,
which is fantastic because the Mandalorians, like. My wife's sitting there asking me all these millions of questions. I go, I really can't answer. No one really talks about Mandalorians.
Yeah. They're almost kind of like the forgotten. They're kind of just like the forgotten pocket of the whole universe. And you're right. If the Empire did destroy their home, why would they work for the Empire? But it almost just seems like they're in such a desperate place. It's like a deal with the devil sort of thing.
But at the same time, we don't know. Like, is there another whole race that they're going to introduce us to? Like, is it
that might be a little bit more
that would be just as cool, though. Like, that would have been what the next movie should have been, introducing a brand new war.
Well, you watch Dragon Ball Z, right?
Yes.
It kind of makes me think a little bit about Vegeta working for Frieza, where it's like, Frieza's the one who destroyed his people and his planet, but he kind of has this agenda underneath.
Yeah, he's just trying to stay close and strong. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same, we'll see what happens. I like Jon Favreau.
Jon Favreau does it. There hasn't really been anything I've seen him direct or do that I disliked. I thought. Well,
besides Lion King,
I didn't see the Lion King. So that's my thing. That's the one a lot of people didn't like. I saw the Jungle Book.
Was the Jungle Book
fire?
If he did what he did to Jungle Book to Lion King. Believe me.
So what happened? What was wrong with The Lion King? Because The Lion King, the original, is actually one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time.
Right. But I
haven't seen the new one, so you're not hurting my feelings. Don't worry.
I break it down by the simple fact that the reason why Jungle Book was so good is because, and this is probably going to sound sacrilegious, but like The Lion King, if you break down the story and the pacing, is a mess. But it was the 90s, an animated movie. Here was an opportunity to do basically what the Jungle Book did was retell. They cut
space
stuff
it out, yeah,
and then add some stuff. The Lion King, no exaggeration, is basically a shot for shot.
That's terrible.
And it's like, but then they extend. The only character that got like any sort of extra free reign was Zazu with John Oliver. That's like the only one that got extra like free roam a little bit. Like
I heard what also hurt the film a lot was the
animation.
They weren't expressive. It just looked very wooden.
But at the same time, like if you like, I think the best part of the movie was the way they looked, because it wasn't. They're not trying to. It's the same as like the Jungle Book. Like the Jungle Book, they weren't too expressive either.
But what helped was their main character was a human.
Yeah,
and he kind of emotionally carried the movie.
In this one, it's
Lion King doesn't have that luxury.
Yeah, this one. Besides that, it's also again sacrilegious. It's also Beyonce. She can't voice act. She can't convey.
Yeah, because
emotion.
she's not a voice actor.
No, she can't convey it. Like I would have rather someone like Lupita Nyong'o, who was Nakia in Black Panther, like the love interest.
Yes.
Someone like that.
Okay, yeah, no, I could fuck with
like,
that.
But even like Timon and Pumbaa, like Timon as Billy Eichner, stole the show. He's like the funniest dude. Like you ever see Billy on the Street when he just
Yes, I love Billy on the Street. It's hilarious.
Like they let Billy Eichner be Billy Eichner as Timon.
What about Seth Rogen as Pumbaa?
He was great. His laugh and everything was great. Like it was them two were great. It's just, I think they should have extended it. I mean, even like the part where they got Donald Glover, who is one of the
Simba.
best.
Well, he's golden touch. No
He
matter what he does,
yeah.
golden touch.
He did a great job with Simba. He sounded almost like Troy, like more youthful.
Yeah,
where he kind of
abandoned. Probably the angle he went with.
Yeah, like a more youthful kind of guy, and it was so good and it was fun. And then his voice when he was singing the song, like they were singing Hakuna Matata and the time thing and everything, like the time jump. It just, to me, they could have just done more. I think he's in the movie for like, it's like an hour and a half, and it's like Donald Glover's in it for like 45 minutes maybe. It's just not that great.
I'm with you. They could have spaced it out
Scar,
or built it up.
The guy that did Scar, Chiwetel Ejiofor, great. He did a great job.
I was so broken they didn't bring Jeremy Irons back though.
I know, but
like he is Scar, man. Jeremy Irons.
He's too busy now on The Watchmen.
Yeah,
that show.
Good or bad? I haven't really.
It's another divisive show.
Everything's divisive now, man. It doesn't matter what you can release the safest film, and they will find a way. To
well,
make
this
it
one they decided to go.
Toy Story 4 was divisive for some fucking people.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't end up going to see that. I wasn't really that much. I watched.
Good.
I watched Toy Story 1 on Disney Plus. I don't know how that movie didn't give me nightmares. That animation,
bro.
That is the perfect. If you want to know if you want to literally feel nostalgia in real time, you watch Bug's Life, Toy Story, and then any of the new animated ones, and you're like, "Yo, what the fuck is wrong with me,
dude?
How did I accept this? How do you accept this and not accept Sonic? Like it was so crazy.
That's
like,
a good point. That's a good point.
Like
we don't remember. We don't remember what it was like back then.
I saw this one guy tweeted out. It's not that Disney has always been. It's not that Disney it's like we've all just been depressed since we were 11. It's not like nostalgia. It's just like we were all just so depressed since then. Like it's not that it was like this great thing. Because some of the like the Disney stuff when they make remakes, I get excited because I'm like the biggest thing to make a remake for me when they make like the old animated stuff is fix it. Not every movie is perfect. Just try to make it different.
Patch it up.
Yeah,
plug
that's why
up the holes.
The Jungle Book only had 2 songs. They let Bill Murray sing it. Not even
Bill
make
Murray
him
was
try.
great. Bill Murray was
and
great.
I love that they made him sing it, and he can't really sing that great.
But he was just being
him. Like that. Yeah. That scene when he was singing
when
Jungle
when they're
Book,
on the river and he's like backstroking.
To me, I was almost in tears. I'm like, this is such a nice this is like
so wholesome.
It was such a real thing.
So wholesome.
Not everyone needs to be some kind of professional singer and stuff. Like it's.
I call it. I maybe I said in our last podcast. I probably did, but I call it the Dark Knight syndrome. Mm-hmm. Ever since the Dark Knight came out, everybody wants to be realistic. Yeah. Everyone wants to make it. Realism is taking over.
Yeah, and I don't understand why. Like even with like Sonic, the new one coming out, I'm like, I don't know why they didn't just make it like an animated movie.
Me neither. What I'm hoping they do, which I think would be great, because it seems like the plot of the film, and I was a Sonic nerd when I'm a kid. I still love Sonic, but the games have just disappointed me to the point I don't really play them anymore. But anyway, that's besides the point. He mentions in the trailer that like he's not home. He's on Earth, but he's not.
He's
from
an
Earth.
alien now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mobius is where he's from.
Mm-hmm.
I would love it if this movie is the tale of him like crashing on Earth in some way through portal, space, whatever it may be. And he has to find his way back to Mobius, that whoever the main character, the real person is, helps him get back to Mobius. but Jim Carrey's Robotnik follows him to Mobius,
Yo.
and that creates problems from here on out.
Jim Carrey as
Robotnik, it's fucking great. It's everything you wanted
love
since you were a kid. How do you not love fucking
when
Jim
he's
Carrey?
in the new trailer, in the Superior trailer.
Yeah.
Controversial statement. But like any opinion now, nowadays I just say controversial after every opinion.
Hot take.
It was when he's like screaming at the guy with a latte, and he's just like, "Thank you, I love your latte." Like I love like the idea of somebody screaming compliments in like an angry way to me. They did it on this show I've watched so many times, New Girl. Where there was one episode.
I watched the first few seasons of New Girl. It was just a funny show.
The last season was ass, but the whole season, like the whole show for them, the first and second were kind of ass. But if you go from like second to like 5, it was great. But there's one episode where the two of them they were like trying to work together, Nick and Schmidt, and Jess makes them breakfast. And they're arguing with each other like, "This is the best breakfast you've ever made. You've not done yourself." Like they start screaming, and it's just like you're saying nice things, but you're screaming them at them. Like I always love that concept of like.
Well, they call it like just juxtaposition. Mm-hmm. When you position two like polar opposite things next to each other, it tends to hit more.
Yeah.
So for some reason, saying compliments in a very angry way, you're more receptive to it.
Yeah,
for some reason.
It's so these shows, and contrary to Todd Phillips' belief of the PC culture nonsense that he said, I'm like, comedy now I love comedy nowadays.
He has when it comes to comedy, Todd Phillips has a point though.
People do get sensitive, but it's like it's never the fans that get sensitive.
That's what I was trying to get into earlier. Is that maybe the hottest topic on the Pokemon subreddit is Game Freak Live, but it's got 4,000 upvotes in a sea of 15 million people who are buying this game. You know, the internet is a tricky way of convincing you the minority or the majority.
Like when they say like trending, like on Twitter, when something's trending, it starts at like 1,000 tweets.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
and usually trending now,
a ripple.
Because everything is so algorithm based, trending really just means trending for you. Mm-hmm. It's like Twitter is designed to show you the trends that are going to get your attention. Yeah. Like Game Freak Live might be trending for you because you're a Pokemon fan, but the rest of the world has no idea that hashtag even exists.
Well, like the mobile game people that like they shove in your face the mobile game ads. But I'm surprised I don't see more mobile game ads. I have this one mobile game I play, Gardenscapes.
Gardenscape, never even heard of it.
It's a match 3 game, right? This is an easy pitch for me. This is the best. This is the best mobile game ever made. And then you collect stars, and then with those stars, you get to design and restore your own garden, and you get to choose like the way it looks and stuff.
Okay,
I'll show you my phone right now. I put almost 200 hours into this.
Jesus, dude! Oh my god! I give you credit, man.
I love it,
bro. Mobile gaming has not stuck with me, at least not yet. And I've given.
They do. They get frustrating with the microtransactions, like they really do, but.
Oh yeah.
For the most part, for me, it's just to me, it's almost in the same league as Pokemon. It's almost like ASMR video games. It's not something that you play and are freaking out while you're playing.
Yeah, it's not going to expand your mind. Pokemon is not a mind expanding experience.
Like my wife plays Assassin's Creed, and she's terrified to jump off a building. There is zero consequence for her in real life. But I watch her play, and she gets like anxiety about trying to jump.
That's immersive, dude.
Yeah, like I was playing Destiny 2 with my buddy Greg. Shout out to Greg.
Shout out Greg.
Well, he's a robot, so like he doesn't fucking listen to anything. But like, we're playing Destiny 2, and we have to do a bunch of like, not platforming, but jumping over things, and he's like, literally having freak out, like anxiety, because he's like so terrified of like heights.
Yeah.
And then I'm like telling him, like, dude, don't worry about it. If you die in a game, you're not going to die in real life. Like, just jump, just do it, just go for it.
Well, that's kind of the point of gaming. It's exposure therapy.
Yeah, I mean, I understand VR.
Maybe your wife has a fear of heights.
Yeah.
And playing Assassin's Creed is some good exposure therapy for her.
I tell all the time, I'm like, you can't, like, how are you going to tell your boss to eat shit if you can't even jump over a building?
Virtually.
I was playing, because I got the Oculus Rift, so I was doing No Man's Sky VR. And that's like the one thing I'll play in VR because, and I never even land. I just go, well, I have to.
You fly in the ship.
Flying the ship with like the thing like this and like actually controlling it. And then you actually do dog fights. You can actually run around shooting.
That's all. That's what fun. I'm saying. I'm going a little off topic here. Did you ever play Star Fox? Were you ever a Star Fox fan?
I wasn't really a fan because I was broke growing up.
That's
but
fair.
I've played it. But yeah. I'm not too.
I think Nintendo's missing out on a really easy opportunity to make a VR game.
Nintendo doesn't. They don't want to do VR.
Yeah,
They're
like much more about AR.
They're like, no, we don't want to do VR. But here's Ring Fit.
It's
It's like, what?
Oh, they've been doing. That's the thing. They don't know it, but they've been doing VR from the beginning. Duck Hunt, when you would actually shoot on your screen.
Yeah.
You know, those are. It's
peripherals,
very small.
the peripherals are kind of. Yeah, I can agree with you on that.
You know, they made the Power Glove.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, I used to have this track and field game where you plugged in a mat into the NES.
Yeah.
And one player would stand on 2 red dots, another player would stand on 2 blue dots, and you had to like move your feet up and down on the pads. And the
Nintendo?
That was Nintendo. It was an NES, and the rapidness at which you moved your feet on the mat was how fast your runner would run. And that was so crazy that existed in the 80s. That tells me like the technology has been there. If you ask me, it's just probably not financially efficient. Like VR is probably a cool idea and it could probably definitely work, but I can't imagine companies are making a lot of money off it.
I don't. They
Because
also
PlayStation has the PSVR, which they've had for years, and they're not exactly investing a lot in it.
I know I think with the new PS5, I guarantee they roll out a new PSVR. I mean, I have the PSVR and I have an Oculus.
So here's my question: is the PSVR compatible with all the games you play?
Not everything, no.
Okay, because what I was thinking is, so there's only just some games that are compatible with the VR. It's not like I can play, say,
something in the giant screen.
Like, can I just put in like Overwatch and put my VR goggles on, and then I'm just seeing the first-person view as I'm playing?
No. It has to be.
It has to be compatible with it. Gotcha.
And it's not every game is even like first person. There's some games where they kind of make you like, I like to say,
an overhead,
like a god
person. Oh,
like
god,
staring down. It's pretty fun. I mean, it depends. Like Beat Saber, where it's basically you get 2 lightsabers and I play that.
Rhythm.
I play that. That's pretty fun. Except for the PSVR, it's ass because on the PC ones you can actually add custom songs that people have modded.
That's cool.
But like for the PSVR is pretty limiting. But I love VR. Like I have so much fun playing it. Like I'm getting rid of my Rift and I'm getting like the S because there's too many. The Rift S only has like one USB now.
Oh, okay.
Right now it's like HDMI, USB, 15 sensors. I got like shit everywhere. But like, I love VR. Like it is a fun thing. And when I was out on disability, I was using it to kind of actually. I had the rhythm boxing game getting me up stretching and stuff. Like it is a fun thing to do. It is obviously a gimmick, but it's a gimmick that's like. It's definitely one of the best gimmicks. Like I'm happier.
Bro, it comes down to fun at the end of the day.
Yeah, like I played what's it called? But then they have some games on like PSVR, like the Persona 5 dancing game.
Have you played that?
No, I was gonna, but then I think something else came out at the same time, and I was.
What do you think of this Persona 5 Scramble that's coming out?
I'm excited. You know why?
Why?
Because it's not like people are like, it's Hyrule Warriors or it's.
It does look that way, but I had fun with Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, but guess what? This takes place 6 months after the game, and it's canon.
So it's canon,
and it has a story.
Ah, so that's
it's a reunion. It's a reunion.
See, because me, I love the story. I honestly believe, and just a small plug for Persona here. I do think Persona 5 is the best self-contained story in video games. I really believe it was so neat. Yeah. All the story beats were perfect. It's 120 hours long, so there's plenty of content. You can drive the story in any way you want. I mean, obviously, it's on the rails to a degree, but in terms of the confidants you build, you choose what side characters are going to play the big role in your story.
Like it's really.
They hit it all, dude. It made me cry, dude. Made me cry. Like, spoiler alert: when you leave Sojiro at the end, and then you see him take his last.
You know, a game. The only game that's really ever made me cry was. Final Fantasy 15.
The ending.
When you say goodbye to your bros.
You walk tall, my friends.
Mostly because I didn't find out until the end that they died.
Yeah. They all did.
I didn't know that they all died. I was just like, oh, so he wasn't even just saying,
Like, he wasn't saying his farewell. He was like, hey, this is our last stand.
They were literally fought to the death. Like, I was like, what? I'm like, no. I wanted everyone to be happy. What's going on? I was so upset.
Well, everyone else gets to be happy. You're the heroes who made the sacrifice, and now Kingslave can move on.
But there was that,
and honestly, I gotta say that game gets some flack.
It looks like what was it? Even people talking about Death Stranding's graphics. My Death Stranding looks exactly like Final Fantasy.
It's really not much different.
There's like I was like, oh
people just bitch. It's a thesis of half this conversation here. But people just bitched. Final Fantasy 15 was a good game.
It was a fantastic game.
I thought it was a really good game. The story was Story was The Lion King. It was Hamlet all over again.
Little bit,
It was
yeah.
actual Hamlet because
Yeah.
Lion King Simba lives, but in Hamlet, Hamlet dies, which
Yeah.
is kind of what, got to take on your evil uncle, which is what Arden
Yeah.
turned out to be. He was
Yeah.
he was the rightful king at one point, but
It's like it is what you're saying. It's just like you just change a couple elements. It's like
yeah. Well, all the
Star
stories
Wars,
are the same.
Star
Yeah.
Wars, Harry Potter, Naruto are all basically the same.
You have to rescue your father from
Yeah.
the underworld, take the spoiled, rotten tradition, sever it off from the future. Greatest story ever told, but
every JRPG and every anime
is in some way
puts so much of the stuff that we watch over here in America to shame. It's honestly
Eastern
incredible.
storytelling is right now better than Western storytelling.
Yeah.
I really believe so.
You look at a lot of the stories and stuff, and just the fact that there was this one anime I just started watching. I thought it was like something crime scene investigating. So I'm like, all right, maybe it's a procedural cop anime. I'm like, I'm down for that. Imagine Law and Order anime. I'm down for that. I'm down for that. Like that sounds cool. And then I'm watching it, and it's basically Law and Order and the movie Bright. It has vampires, dwarves, and
that's
everything.
Crazy.
And it's a special unit with they have a dwarf that's a sniper. They have a vampire who's also a samurai. They have a homunculus, which is like a little person that's never grows, as their tech person. And their final edition, they have an elf.
Unbelievable.
And their final member is just a regular human that got kicked out because he helped them because everyone's racist. so he got kicked out of his unit for helping them during a bank robbery. And it was just like, what other Western show
gives you that?
Oh man, there's so many crazy animes.
One of my favorite anime. It only got one season. It's got a full manga that I think I'm going to buy one day. But one of my favorite anime is, I don't know if you've seen it, The Devil is a Part-Timer.
I keep seeing it everywhere.
Watch it.
Yeah.
It is one of the funniest
man.
fucking things I've ever seen. Here's the premise of the show. So there's the devil and the hero, and they live in an alternate dimension. They live in the subterrane of Earth.
Yeah.
And there's a giant war basically between the hero and the angels and the devil and the demons. A portal opens up, and the devil and his right-hand man get sucked into planet Earth.
Yeah.
So they're sucked into Tokyo, Japan, dressed as themselves, and the cops approach them immediately and oh, you guys are cosplayers. There's a convention going on over there. It's those crazy cosplayers. So what happens is he's on Earth, and he's like, I have to rebuild my empire. I have to start from the bottom. So he gets a job at McDonald's. So Satan is working at McDonald's as a part-timer. And he's like, well, first I'm going to climb this tower. I'm going to climb the McDonald's hierarchy to the top, and I will rebuild my empire from there. It's just shit like that. And I think what happened in the West with storytelling is at least cinematically, visually, we got so soaked up in the Oscars and stuff like that that sense of realism and making things real, super real, hyper real took over, where it's a good movie to us. Not to us, obviously you and I would feel different, but for a lot of people, seeing what they would call a good movie, it has to be like a Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
It has to be like a Shawshank Redemption. It can't have these elements of silliness or fantasy the way Eastern storytelling is willing to go to. They're willing to expand. I also think it's
because movie executives out here stopped doing cocaine. Because all these anime movies that on the anime premises, if they had proposed it back in the day, they would have made it. It's so it's so there's this anime that I watched too, again, one season. It's called Rising of the Shield Hero. And
I've seen that. I haven't seen it, but I've seen it as a selection.
It's like they get sucked into another world where they become the shield hero, because there's a spear hero, a sword hero, a bow hero, and a shield hero. The shield hero, everyone hates on him because he's a support class. So they kick him out of the group.
Oh man.
And he basically is journeying by himself with a shield that can't attack. So he's a support character. So he's learning his way and everything, being resourceful. I'm like, it's basically a video game if you got stuck.
And you have to learn your class.
And you're stuck as the worst one, and you're making it work. That's what the whole show is. It's only one season because I think they canceled it because they didn't get a lot of views. Mm-hmm. But it is dark. It's a dark show. But also really funny at the same time. And it's just, anime is, what I hate is that the people generalize so much about anime. They think it's all the same. But I can't even blame them sometimes, because I watched a few episodes of Food Wars, it's called.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking it's a cooking thing. I'm like, maybe this kid's a little Gordon Ramsay, Japanese angry kid. And then all of a sudden he makes food, and the women are butt naked, and like moaning and like because of how good the food is. And I'm like, all right, this is. I was like, it's funny.
Yep.
But at the same time, I'm like, oh my god, this is what people. Then people
But
think this
that's
is what
what's
anime
funny.
is.
But this is what's funny about this. You brought this up on your last podcast. So obviously Japan has a way with sexualizing their media a lot. They're not shy about it. But what was the stat you brought up? They have like the least amount of
their age of consent in Japan is like 14.
Yeah.
But they have the world's lowest like
Teenage pregnancy.
Yeah. They're just I don't know how they're like there's some
But that's what I'm saying. Is
it
it because they make it so not taboo? Like is that what it is to get rid of the taboo?
I might be part of it. I also think that I mean
it's hard, right? Like obviously
it's
we don't know. We're not psychologists, so
it's weird how they have like the same amount of rules and stuff we do, like, you know, but like I think if anything it might come down to in the West, what I see is a lot of people are really just, I don't want to try to offend anybody, but I think it's more about religion and how people out here with religion, they're so like adamant. When over there obviously are religions and everything, but to them it matters more just being, you know, like professional and like their values. It's so weird. It's hard to imagine for me, like, because I've always tried to figure this out. How they, I mean, you can boil it down to just the fact that their parents are strict.
I think it's just culture.
But like the culture over there, it's like they adhere to the culture so much. To almost like a religious form. With us, we have like we have different belief systems than them. It's just that I guess it's just less likely to fail at following the rigidity of their. I don't know. It's weird.
You know what I think it is, and we could obviously be wrong. We're not experts.
No,
but
not Japanese.
Exactly. So we could be so off the mark with this.
I legitimately just don't know.
But here's maybe here's a hypothesis I guess I have, right? Because like you were bringing up church, and obviously like not everyone was raised in a religious home, especially here on Long Island.
Yeah.
But maybe here, like, you're raising your children based on these religious principles in some of the areas of the country. Whereas in Japan, it's like, no. These house rules are not based on any religion. These are the house rules.
Yeah,
and you will listen to the house rules. It's like they don't need, maybe the way they're raising their kids is they don't raise them based on a religious principle. They kind of just have their moral obligations, teach those, and it's like...
And it's also like, it seems like their society is more like, it's weird. It's like what,
bro, they bow.
Yeah, like they're very respectful and everything. It just seems
there's a lot of respect for authority too.
Yeah,
that's really taught. There's a lot of respect for authority.
And then like the only criminals that they have are the ones that are just like rude as a kid, I guess. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, they say you could leave your bag somewhere and nobody will take it. Like you could leave it on the subway and people don't know what that is. They don't touch it.
Yeah.
Because it's just like not the way that
you ever see video, like if you go on YouTube, you like see like the like in like Rio de Janeiro, you see like on they put like security footage of people just like straight up running up to you, punching you in the side of the head and taking your bag. It's all different countries. And I'm just using that as an example.
Exactly.
But there's so many different countries where you go and you just get like Rocky punched from behind and you just get robbed. But then you go to Japan, it's like everyone's just minding their own business. Like
exactly.
I mean, if you look at I cannot stress this enough. Take my word for it. I watched the Logan Paul vlog when he was in Japan.
Yeah.
And you see the difference. You see him and then you see the people day to day. You see right there, it's just like, damn.
The energy is like, probably different.
They are all like, it's like they're all at a funeral, but it's like different, for us, our happiness for most people out here need to be loud, drunk, and crazy. Out there, their happiness is like when you get home. It's not out. People don't throw their lives around. It's like I guarantee, like when you see like the girls or guys at the bar and they're like screaming,
well,
and all this shit.
You know what it is? We're home so much here. We make our good time when we get out.
Yeah,
they're never home in Japan, so their fun time, their good time is those moments where they actually get to be home. Yeah. They actually get to take a bath. Mm-hmm. They get to eat a home cooked meal. Because. We were bringing up earlier, a lot of those salarymen work crazy hours, which bringing us a little bit out of left field. But did you happen to watch that 15-minute commercial Square Enix made for Final Fantasy VII Remake?
I watched most of it. Yeah.
I watched all. I thought it was a genius marketing.
Because
really
it's true
think
that game. Oh, that game has been around for so long, and it's coming to Xbox. Final Fantasy's coming to all the Xbox.
They're finally Square Enix ported everything to the Xbox finally.
10, 10-2, some of the except for the laughing, of course. Everything fantastic games. I do that to my wife just to piss her off.
Just do that. Do the Titus laugh.
I'll hug her and I'll they go and she just gets all pissed off. But yeah, like these games, like we all grew up. Final Fantasy VII, like I'm
so excited for this game.
Yeah, 100%. I can't wait. And like we talked about it last time, how it's like I can't sit through it again, the game. But I'm really excited for this remake. But it's like I just wish, like back in the day when it first came out, like I was like too young to understand it and like appreciate it.
I played it again in college and was able to actually understand what I was looking at. But you're right.
I can't go like 8-bit games. Like I see those all the time. Like, I'm just like these like pixel.
It's hard to go back sometimes. It's hard to go back. Games have gotten so good that we're honestly spoiled.
Yeah, like my dad. It's
hard to go back.
Even now, like my dad wouldn't. When I was growing up, my dad would not let me play a rated M game. Like if I brought Grand Theft Auto 3 home, I thought he was gonna murder me. But like then once I got like I over 18, I got my own job and everything. I started buying like, all those rated M games, and I'm like sitting there going like, where's all the sex? Where's all the they get this nuance of like these games that are so like advanced, but then. Now that I'm older, I want to play the rated teen games from back in the day. And just like these games were good. Like, what the hell's going on? Like, I really didn't understand these things growing up.
Well, that's what like venturing back into your older games, the games you loved when you were a kid, going back to them as an adult is a whole separate experience.
Yeah, it also depends. I mean, when I played Let's Go Pikachu, I hated it.
That's fair because it was carbon copy. It's the same reason you didn't like The Lion King.
But it's the same. But it's also because I guess it's also in my mind. It's because I understood the original Pokemon.
Because it's so true. As a kid, you could understand.
I get the point of Pokemon. You gotta catch them all. Whatever.
It's not like going back to Majora's Mask and seeing the whole game was about getting over death.
Yeah. You never hear these things like these. Like it's so insane. Like. I don't know. You gotta like even with like Sonic, man. Like the movie to go back to it too. Like I got so disappointed when I saw it. Like the design's good. But the story behind it, I'm like, they could have expanded on the idea of him just saving animals.
Mobius. He should be on Mobius. Yeah. But that's what I'm hoping this movie does.
Yeah, but like
it's about getting him back to Mobius.
Yeah, but they're making him like a superhero in this, and I'm like. Sonic wasn't a superhero; he was helping out the animals.
Exactly.
It's just like, come on. I'd rather have a bunch of kids learn that killing animals and collecting them and poaching is bad, than to see some kind of like CGI $100 million like all this crazy battle. Like, because that's a real thing that happens now. We have like animals that keep going extinct. And it's like, obviously it's not. Well,
I always felt like that was the subtext of the original Star Fox game.
Yeah,
because you're a legion of animals. Whether it's the Star Fox team, then you have General Pepper and his army, and there's this evil mad scientist monkey that's making life go extinct, living on venom.
Yeah,
and
you telling me
had the humanoid.
But that's the thing. You're telling me I never even
as a kid you don't hit that. As a kid you don't get that.
No, I don't. But that's what I'm saying. Like these, like I give credit to Nintendo sometimes when it comes to story building, but like.
They've put all their story building, honestly, at least from the past, they pour it all into Zelda and Metroid.
But even then,
that's really where they put their stories. But even now,
like Breath of the Wild, like I don't get the story of it. Like
I love the story personally. It's really all about Zelda. Like that's one of the things I loved about it. Was so much of it. Like if you go through all the memories, it's all about Zelda. The whole story is telling Zelda's story.
I just wish,
but I loved that. You were the story. You chose your path.
Yeah.
You chose where to go. You met the people in the order you chose to meet them in.
I think I'm just a cranky old man when it comes to games because when I see Breath of the Wild, I don't think any sort of story. Like to me, like I don't see it. I see the text, the dialogue and stuff, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to me. I don't really care about it. But then I put in about 210 hours into the new Fire Emblem. I could tell you most
3 houses, it
was like,
because it's
in your face story.
It's about the storytelling. Zelda does a lot of its storytelling through the subtext.
And that's what I like. That's like to me building an entire story in subtext annoys me.
I understand, and I get that. I think
that's...
the reason they do that is because they were forced to do that in the old days.
Yeah.
Like when you were making a game on Super Nintendo or N64, you were kind of forced to do that because you didn't have the tools that we have now. Whereas opposed to, say, a Fire Emblem Three Houses or a Persona 5, where you could really capture the story inside the game now.
Yeah.
So,
but even then with Pokemon, the new game, I have to say my biggest complaint is the cutscenes and having no voice acting. To me, it's kind of weird.
I was gonna say at this point, at this stage,
It's
you don't have to do
2019.
every single one, right?
They already probably dubbed the new anime.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why they couldn't just have
do
them
that?
just be like, hey guys, here's an extra.
And you don't have to dub every cutscene, just like
No.
the special ones.
Yeah, like the gym battle ones. When they do
Yeah.
like the whole thing, like I love.
And when the announcer comes out and
Yeah.
announces you, that would be cool.
Something like that. Like I feel like to me the Nintendo games they're introducing things that are so normal now.
Yeah.
And it's so late, and I think that a lot
a
of
little
people
late
get
in the
mad.
game.
I mean, maybe for all we know, and this is just me thinking about it now, maybe that's why people are mad. You know, they want these games to be like the same as like The Witcher with inventory systems, and I mean Breath of the Wild having those inventory systems are pretty advanced, not for nothing.
Yeah.
And that was pretty new. Back I remember on like the Wii U and stuff, it was like on the tablet, it was like wasn't that much. Which is cool, but it's like at the same time it's like I think that voice acting and more cutscenes in Breath of the Wild would have kept my attention. I played Shadow of War.
Well, I mean, you had hours of cutscenes. You had probably like 4 or 5
but
hours.
I
of
always
cutscene.
feel like a lot of times, and I
Almost.
think it's because Troy Baker in general. Like I don't know if you know Troy Baker.
No.
He's a voice actor. He was like has like 300 or 400 credits in
Yeah.
video games and anime. He was Pain in Naruto Shippuden.
I didn't watch
did-
Naruto.
But like he did. That's the one I usually go to because a lot of people love it.
Yeah.
But you go to him and like you see someone like him who brings life into these characters with his voice acting, and I feel like that's the only thing that Nintendo's really lacking is like a real personality for the characters.
Well, I think that's, at least I know when I was growing up having Nintendo series systems all my life, that's what drew me to Square Enix and a lot of the games they released on PlayStation.
Yeah, they were the ones that pioneered it. I mean, I guess Fire Emblem did too, in a way, because Fire Emblem was even existed back then and still featured so many storylines and everything, but it was
Yep.
all text-based.
Yeah. Well, it's like we were saying, a lot of it, whether it's Square Enix or Fire Emblem,
Yeah.
a lot of their series, a lot of it was
Yeah,
text-based.
but it was still an actual story.
It was still actual story, but
Yeah.
like in these later iterations, whether it's Fire Emblem Three Houses or Final Fantasy 15 or Kingdom Hearts 3, even when you're speaking to these NPCs, it's no longer just text to read anymore. It's actual
it's just-
speech.
and it's fun to just act. Yeah,
It makes talking to the NPCs
Yeah.
a little bit more rewarding.
I feel like compared to like the 90s where it was like everything was just easier. Like, I mean, I'm not mad at them. They
Yeah.
were doing what they could do with the limited resources and stuff.
But
now that it's a huge industry,
they're hitting puberty late, basically. They're hitting gaming puberty
and that's my
late.
only thing with them. I feel like they're still focusing on gimmicks like Ring Fit and stuff instead of like,
Where's Metroid Prime 4 at?
yeah,
I'm waiting for that. But we do need to wrap this up soon. I want to give you the mic for as long as you need it. Tell the people about your YouTube channel, what you guys got coming on, stuff like that. The floor is yours.
last time I did this,
You kind of wrote it off. You didn't want to plug.
and that's like the one thing like so far I don't like doing is like trying to plug my own stuff.
You could give yourself
If
30
we
seconds, man.
If you're in the mood to look at something a different point of view than the rest of the world, I try when there's a wave of hate, I try to add some context to the hate and say maybe we're overreacting a little bit, or in some cases maybe they're just completely wrong. I'm starting somewhat of a new series. I was talking to you earlier about it, where I'm just gonna start bullying bullies, because I mean, if you're in your, if you're a bully after high school, you're kind of worse than any nerd. If you're still bullying people, So we're starting a new series on that, and we do gameplay videos. We try to I try to do my best to say jokes about my robot. It goes over his head. So if you want to watch, jokes fall flat because I have a robot partner, you can look me up on YouTube. All Nerds Welcome. And that's about it. I mean,
Yeah, I'll have links in the description everywhere you look.
this is the one reason I can't. I hate it. I hate
plugging.
I hate talking about myself. I was gonna come here. My original plan was to come here and then plug something very random. I was trying to look for something to plug, and I was like, no.
We'll save that for the third one. But thank you again to everybody who's listening. Another shout out to the Sages of the Lodge. Alex, thank you for coming on. Episode 50.
And I'm one of the sages, so
You are one of the sages, so that's 2 thank yous for you. Yeah. We made it. Episode 50. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for coming on. Farewell.
Cosmos, with all its galaxies, and forever and ever and ever, whatever it is beyond that, what you might call God, in the Western tradition, or Brahman in Hindu philosophy, or Tao in Chinese. Every one of us is really that, but we are pretending we aren't. And we are pretending with tremendous skill and deception. Who are you?